right? Now, as we are in this pedestal side, we will we will set our weather radar as well as our radio settings. Will be 122.8 as we are flying on eval. Set our weather radar. Okay, that is good. Perfect. Now we will set WX plus T. WX plus T. Make sure that auto is set, so is pushed. That is good. We will also put our squawk. Local flight on Tunisia usually begin by 5. Will be 5003. And we'll just check the VOR at Carthage. Just check the chart. A moment, please. Okay. We will set the VOR so that if we have a problem or something, we already got a value. So we will go to the charts to see ILS runway 29. Right, ILS runway 29 just here. We got Tango Kilo Echo 108.5. We just put it on standby, and if we have a problem or something, or we need to go to an ILS runway 29, we just set this to active position, and it will also make us intercept the ILS and the VOR. We'll move back to the cockpit now. We will set all the instrument and MCP. So we will begin with this side. Minimums will set to radio, meters, traffic, hectopascals, as we are flying in Tunisia. So now QNH is 1018. We will also set the VORs, VOR1, VOR2, and we'll go to this little panel here, which we will need if we have any problem with the avionics. Set it to hectopascal. Now we will go to the co-pilot side, radio, meters, hectopascal, traffic, VOR1, VOR2. If you want, you can put it to ADF, but you need to set a value in your pedestal. I will let it on VOR. That is done. So now we will just make a little light test for all our instruments. I will check all my instruments here. Pedestal checked, right, MCP, overhead, all of them are working. That is good. Perfect. Now it's time to set on the APU. APU start. 1, 2, 3. Good. We will see the pressure here. So don't forget that before starting your APU, you need that at least this pump is open. If you have no fuel pumps opened, in the real Boeing 737 the APU won't start. So you need to set at least one of these pumps. I think that it's this one. I don't remember quite well, but I think that it's this one or this one. No problem, you can just test one by one, and I think that in the PMGG aircraft, even if your fuel pumps are set to off, your APU will start even without the fuel pumps. Right, so pressure will be stabilized at least 3.7, and now APU generator, we will set that to on. We'll set the engines bleed to off position. We have APU bleed that is on. We put the seat belts to on position. We go back to our panel, and now we will set the MCP here for the autopilot. So firstly, we check our legs. We go to legs. Our first heading is 290, so we will set on our heading selector 290. After it, we will go to the init reference, we go to takeoff, and we check our V2. V2 is 109, but 109 is a quite low airspeed, so we will add 20 knots to the value, which will make 129. We will set 129 in the IS Mach section. Perfect. Now initial altitude will be 100. As we have no control, no ATC in Tunisia, we will set it directly to flight level 240, but I always recommend you to set it to the initial climb. That is perfect. Now for the course here, course is generally the same as the heading. So we got 290 here, we set 290 here, 290 here. Perfect. We will set on the flight directors, both of them. Make sure that we got the FD here in the PFD. We will set VNAV as well as LNAV to on position. Now we will set the auto brake to RTO initially so that we won't forget. And now I think that everything is done. So don't forget I am not following all the flows and procedures of the quick reference handbook and of the Boeing 737. So we are just trying to make this baby fly. And if you want any realistic procedures, I will make maybe another video for that. Right. Now we will go here, menu, FS actions, ground connections. We will set off the ground power as we have the APU working. And now we will set the parking brake to on position. Wheel chucks are removed. Return. Make sure that we have all the doors closed. We got the front entry. We will close it. That is perfect. I see that my PFD and all my displays are too bright. I will lower the brightness. This button here, navigation display, as well as the engines panel. This one here, PFD, and for the FMC it's just here. It's a little knob here. Right, move back to my seat, put up the yoke, and I will set the auto throttle to on position so that we won't forget, because we need the auto throttle for the takeoff. Okay, I think that we are ready for the push and start. Let's call the ground services. Ground service, prepare for push and start, please. Thank you, Atik Saha. Right. Nose right, tail left. And we will start the engines while pushing back. Make a little test for the terrain radar. Okay, that's working. Little one here. And we will make the test for the, if you remember, the Mach. I think it was the Mach, yes, it was the Mach. No, the stall warning test. Number 2 is working with the APU. So whenever you see that it's not working, just open your APU, wait a little bit, and just test it another time. Stall warning test number 1, number 2 working, Mach warning speed number 1, Mach airspeed warning number 2, that is working, perfectly done. Now before start and before pushback, we will set the anti-collision or the beacon light for Airbuses in on position. Roger that, releasing parking brakes now. Release parking brakes. And now we are in a very important part of the flight, which is the engine start. It can be very dangerous, and we have to be very good at it. So before starting, we put the packs to off position, left pack, right pack, recirculation fan to off position also. Go to number 1 here. remember to set the engine panel here. If we have system, just click here, MFD, engines. You can put the ignition to right, or you can leave it to both, and you set this to ground. Now it is starting. We will wait until it comes to 17% of N2. Alright. We put some fuel so that the engine can start. And we take a look at our engine panel here. See that everything is going fine. Right. We will set parking brakes. Parking brake set. Now we can start number 1. Ground. We'll wait until it comes to 17%, and then we will put some fuel so that the engine can start. Seven. Alright. Always take a look at your panel here. Also your panel here. Wait until it's stabilized to 20.5. It can also stabilize at maybe 20 or 19. Okay, 20. Now what we can do is set these to continuous. Continuous, continuous. We will set the power to the engines as our engines are on. Tac, tac. We will set the packs to auto, recirculation fan, engines bleed, APU off, and APU bleed off. That is good. We will do a flight controls check. We go to system, flight control check, full left, full right, neutral, checked, full up, full down, neutral, checked, rudder, full left, full right, neutral, checked, flaps 5, flaps 1, 2, 5, and we can see some of the protections here. So if you have a go round, flaps 40, go round, gear up, flaps 1.5, you already got the protection here, which will stop the flaps, so you can just stop at 1.5. We also get a protection at 1 here. Alright, just check these. I forgot about the yaw damper. We really need the yaw damper, so we put it to on, and the probes to on as our engines are on. Alright, now we will set the taxi lights. Taxi lights on, parking brake off, taxiing. I will set the transponder to TARA to see if there is some traffic. Just see if there's some traffic on the 0119. Our TCAS told us that there's no traffic. We can go ahead, but we also need to do a visual check. Right side, left side clear. Line up with the line. So PFD with yellow line, like this. We are pretty well lined up. There is also another visual perception. So your yoke here with the line. Right, will be next entry. As we are empty, we don't need to take runway 29. Get 35 knots. I always recommend you to don't exceed 30 knots or 25 knots. Always be below 25 or 30 knots. Perfect. Got no traffic, so we can line up and take off. We will set the retracts and landing lights on now. Runway turn. Strobe lights. That is done. Terrain radar. And the chrono in the Boeing 737 is just here. Just press this button here. Right. And now you go to 40%. And when you are at 40%, just activate the N1. N1 activated, take off. Airspeed alive. 80 knots. Thrust hold. Rotate. Right. Positive rate, gear up. LNAV. Now follow your flight director lines, which are here. Right. Flaps 1. And flaps up. Make a right turn to follow the SID. Got some turbulence here. Transition altitude, and we will set the autopilot, make a direct, gear off position, auto brake off, check that our flaps are in up position, and that is good. We set altitude intervention, that's perfect. And now we will check the lights. Taxi lights, runway turn off, retracts off, engines 2 off, passing 10,000 feet, lights off. Set the weather radar, but we have nothing now as weather is pretty good in Tunisia. Go for a direct to Atlel. So now, just for information, if you are planning an ILS approach with the Boeing 737, don't forget to take a look at the chart and also take a look at the landing altitude, so your airport elevation. Now at Monastir, airport elevation is 8, so set it to 0 here, but if it's like 1000 or 800 or something like this, you set 1000 with the value here. So that's it. If you have also an ILS approach, don't forget to set the course, both of the course here, and set your VOR here. So for the moment we are set for ILS 29 at Carthage, but now we will change it for an ILS 07 at Monastir. But don't forget that we will take a visual runway 25. ILS is only for emergency process. So ILS runway 07, we have 109.9, 109.9, and the course is 072. So we set 072.